Good evening. So the next verse, no, let me just give an introduction. The great teacher Kongtang Tembe Dome, in one of his teachings, he says that all the sufferings that we get in this place called samsara or cycle of existence, all the sufferings that we get in this place called samsara, cycle of existence, arises from the enemy, or all the sufferings that we are experiencing in this samsara is the result of harms done by the enemy called self-cherishing attitude or self-grasping attitude. Self-grasping. Now this is a big statement. All the sufferings, I am saying, not small sufferings, all the sufferings that we encounter in this samsara are the result of harms done by the enemy self-grasping. Therefore, he addresses us affectionately by saying, therefore, my child, you should employ all the ways and means to uproot it, to eradicate it, that self-grasping. You should adopt all the ways and means to eradicate it. Those of my children, those of you who wants to achieve liberation, then you should make all the attempts to eradicate this enemy self-grasping. But he says, however, before you properly understand this very elusive, cunning enemy self-grasping, you start by trying to understand a little bit more grosser levels of reality, like the grosser levels of impermanence, the sufferings that we experience and encounter, and the grosser levels of selflessness or emptiness. So there are many stages. This is very, very important statement. And you will find other quotations in some other text which says, therefore, from the understanding of suffering, from the understanding of impermanence, you will develop the understanding of suffering. From the understanding of suffering, you will develop the understanding of selflessness. You will then understand how to remove the enemy self-grasping. In Tibetan it says, ne korwe dunge yodocho da dangzin doyengi tsebena te tungnen jimbe tabsula putando yon jimbe barriks. Rede yinaya da wenjang thala che sabe doyen tingi rikbe ngaror ne che rakbe meda dunge dang tung dangme togo rimbamangs. Then he says, even that is not so easy for us. For example, then he says, na gensho meba lubur ji chen tume cheba thong shendu rang chinyam loya meche na lam thumbu tokpa khalakis. For example, then he says, even that is difficult. Even understanding this grosser levels of reality is very difficult. He gives an example by saying that all of us have this knowledge and understanding that people die like anything, irrespective of their age, whether they are young or old, there is no seniority, people just die. Suddenly, in many cases. And we have seen this. But still, it never hardly occurs to us that I belong to that category. I will also die. It hardly occurs to us. How can you then develop the higher realizations called emptiness and subtle impermanence, even very grosser levels of impermanence like the death? In the life history of each of us, we can count people who have died, who you know. You can count. But it never occurs to us that it may be my next may be my turn. If you had that kind of understanding, you will completely change your way of living, You will become better. But that doesn't occur to us. We'll plan to live more and more. Okay? So that's the problem. Now if you plan to live more and more, of course you need to have so many things. You need to buy a car, you need to have a nice house, You have to have many more things. For example, those of you who are visiting Dharamsala for 1 month or for a few weeks, I don't think you will go around to buy a piece of land and plan to construct a house. That's ridiculous, huh? Because you are very soon leaving, so you are not going to stay here. So similarly, if we have a little bit of understanding of this impermanence and the possibilities of death coming any time, that is not to unnecessarily frighten us. That's reality. Because if you think and plan, understand that your life will change. Your process of relationship with other people will change. And one of my very favorite example that I read in the text, which I have spoken earlier also, is that this example of 3 criminals who are caught. Let us say there are 3 criminals who are caught, and they will be executed and killed today at 10 p.m. So they are standing right in front of us. So they have only few hours, 4-5 hours, before they will be killed. So within this 4-5 hours of time together, how they should behave towards each other? Try to cheat each other? Try to exploit each other? Try to deceive each other? I mean, if we see them doing those kind of things, we will be shocked to death. And those of us who have a more tender heart, we might even shed tears saying, how come these people? Is their heart made of stone or diamond or something like that? They will be killed within 4-5 hours, and still they are so nasty towards each other. Still they are mistreating each other. And that makes complete sense, and we are able to understand it within that span of time. So the purpose of giving this example in that text is that the master is saying that we are not different from these 3 criminals. They have 4-5 hours to live, and we have maximum in this kind of gathering. Maximum we will live on an average is another 60 years. Or even if I say 70 years, after giving a big discount. 70 years. So after 70 years, we'll all be gone. We'll all be gone. That's average, but some will go much faster, on an average. So like these 3 criminals, after 70, 60 years, we are all gone. So how should we be living now together? In the situation of these 3 people, we are able to understand that it's common sense, they should be nice to each other. So apply that to us. This short life is to encourage each other, help each other, make each other's life meaningful, valuable, not to disrupt each other, not to harm each other. Perfect sense. And I was so happy when I read that line in one of the mind training texts, you see. It's absolutely true. People are in one or the other form. People have problems, people have difficulties, people have problems. I mean, even with that problem, why should you bend on creating additional problems, sufferings and difficulties on others? If you had that one understanding, that how many different types of problems are there in each and every people, you see. And I had on several occasions, I got a glimpse of those problems. Like once I was accompanying a Tibetan physician and visiting the 4 Scandinavian countries. So I was acting as a translator to the physician and also kind of the dispenser of the medicine, you know. So when people come for diagnose with the Tibetan doctor, when they come in, they look really nice, healthy, you know, nicely make up, you know, and tack, you know, with the shoes making noise and tack, and they come inside. Looks okay. But after having sat down, the physician starts diagnosing the pulse, starts asking questions. Believe me, I'm not exaggerating. Almost everybody who came there had many problems. 3, 4, in some cases 5, 6, 7 different illnesses. That's the situation. That is the situation of all of us. We all have difficulties, we all have problems. So these teachings are saying that understand that problem. And of course it is understandable that you get sometimes angry, upset, frustrated, those kind of things happen, but do not forever maintain that ill will towards each other, hatred towards each other. You should try to develop that wish to be of help to others. That makes perfect sense. Perfect sense. So it's no good to pretend that, you know, you're okay. There's a Tibetan saying which says, don't make friendship with okay. When everything is not okay, if you say, you know, I am okay, it's not okay. It's not okay. So therefore, and then the one that makes us suffer, sick, unhappy, is primarily these destructive negative emotions. Anger disrupts all your physical balance. Attachment disrupts all your physical balance. Imbalances the 4 or 5 elements, you know. Then you get sick. Mentally, physically you are sick. So therefore, the next verse is, so therefore before I start, what I was really saying was, you need to pay attention to the reality that when people die, that's a great teaching, that people die, you should think, oh, my turn may come very soon. Don't think that I am young, I will not die. There is no seniority. When the death comes, even if the gold medalist in the Olympic in terms of running, you cannot run away from death. Even if you are very clever in hiding, you cannot hide yourself amidst a mountain. Even if you are one of the greatest swimmer, you cannot just dive down and hide in the depth of the ocean. Impossible. There's a story at the time of the Buddha when there was a fighting going on, and somebody came and requested Buddha to hide him. Then the Buddha said, okay, you hide here. He put some cloth and kept near him. When the war and the fight was over, when so many people killed, and then Buddha opened the cloth, he found that person dead there. You see? And I have seen that in my own class when I was studying Dalhousie. One morning there was like jogging, morning physical exercise. It was one of our classmates, very healthy young girl. She just tripped and died there on the spot. Very healthy. So this is, not to unnecessarily frighten you, this is reality. So therefore you need to be extra careful. One, extra careful in terms of where you are going, what you are eating, how much you are looking after, you really take good care of yourself. And the best way of taking care of it is being mentally healthy, removing the negative emotions, and it will go a long way. So that's important. So therefore do not think that I'm right now, okay, I'm healthy, so nothing will happen to me. And God forbid, if something happens, are you prepared? And the Buddhist text is decisively and precisely say death is definite. Can you reject that? You have to say, yes sir, I agree, death is definite for everybody. In all the histories of the world, there is not one single example where we can show that this person never died. So death is certain. But unfortunately, the time of death is uncertain. Death is certain, but the time of death is uncertain. In today's world, we are very good in making appointments. 3 o'clock, I'm meeting somebody. 4 o'clock, I'm meeting somebody else. 5 o'clock, I'm meeting somebody. 7 o'clock, I have a dinner in Tibet hotel, things like that. Very good in making appointment. But unfortunately, the Lord of Death will not seek your appointment. Will not tell you in advance, okay, you have to die on 2nd January 2017, whatever, something like that. They will never seek your appointment. It will happen any time. So the time of death is indefinite. For example, if you let us relate this to the example of a physical enemy, a real enemy, human enemy. If you are sure your enemy is coming, and also you know that the enemy is really powerful, it has a lot of weapons and a lot of forces. You know that your enemy is very strong, and you also know the enemy is definitely coming, but you don't know when the enemy is coming. Then can you relax? I know it's coming, but I really don't know. It can come anytime, so I must remain prepared, you see. It is like that. Death is definite, but the time of death is indefinite. Therefore, prepare right now. Because prepare right now means, because at the time of the death is definite, time of death is indefinite, and at the time of the death, the only thing that is beneficial is spiritual practice. Spiritual practice, not necessarily just religious practice. Spiritual practice means if you had habituated your mind with some positive ways of thinking, positive ways of living, formed a habit, left an imprint on your mind, then you will be fine. Because that habit that you have formed will be your food when you take this journey to the next life. It will be your light, it will be your lamp when you go into darkness. It will be your guide. Because you can't take anybody else. Even credit card you can't take. So far I think there is no machine up there. So even the so-called very easy to apply things, modern things, you can't take any of these things. So what you will take is your mind with its habit. So much you will fare well in that journey is very much dependent upon how much you have prepared your mind. So it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. Like for example, even in the day, if we had thought good thoughts and done something good, it is almost sure the dream will be good. In the night also you will fare well. Sleep will be more relaxed and more peaceful. In the day, if you had fought with somebody, did something destructive, it is almost sure that in the night also you will have disturbed sleep. So how we will experience in the future lives is something like that. Does it make sense? So therefore, do not postpone your practice. That means forming a good habit. You call it meditation, whatever you want to call it, basically forming a positive habit. So therefore in the next, so this is what is exactly said in the next verse, which says that since even this precious human life, which is so difficult to obtain, as we have discussed yesterday, having obtained that, this precious human life, number one, very difficult to get. Now having got it, unfortunately, it is very difficult to get, but having got it, if there is a security, if there is a guarantee that it will sustain for a long, long life, then it's okay. We can postpone our practice a little bit now and have fun, and then little bit later you will do the Dharma practice, But that is not the case, as I said. It's very difficult to get, but having got it, again it may not last long. You can die any time, you see. So therefore, when you have the time, when you have the opportunity, you need to try your best so that you don't have to suffer and regret. So that's why while you have time, even though you have obtained this precious life, but it will be lost very soon. Therefore, you must make effort right now. That is what is being said in the next verse, verse number 16. Although today I am healthy, there is a print mistake in the Tibetan, verse. Neme nyeman ditavu sakche mare seche se sasa se. Neme nyeman ditavu seche sewa mejane se ne kechik luwati lune thangjik nyemuhins. So that means although today I am healthy, for example today nyeman ditavu, for example today I am healthy, we are all healthy. And I also have needed facilities like food, well nourished, and unafflicted. I am not caught between crossfiring, things like that. I am healthy, everything is good. But still, you need to remember, life is momentary and deceptive. There is no guarantee that nothing will happen to you because you are healthy right now. Because if you look at this body itself, it's like an object on loan, borrowed garment. Borrowed garment never fits well, as we say. It's like borrowed garment. Number one, it will not fit you well, and number two, very soon they'll say, can you please give it back to me? I need that garment. So the Lord of Death can come. Lord of Death means death. Don't think there is somebody, Lord, The picture that we have in the cycle of existence, Bhava Chakra, the wheel of life, there you have this wheel, and then this wheel is between the fangs of that terrifying looking man. And this is just an illustration. It represents just death. There's not a big monster waiting for us. It's not like that. It's not like that. So Lord of Death means death. Okay. So this body is like an object on loan for but a minute. It's only for a short time, because very soon you will die and you have to leave this body behind. So therefore, don't say that today I am healthy, have food and all the necessary facilities, so I will not die. Okay. And in fact, you should, of course, be happy that you are healthy, but at the same time remember the other possibilities. Sometimes when we are healthy, wealthy, and have some name and power, then we get puffed up, get inflated. I've seen many people, bureaucrats, aristocrats, when they get some power, some money, and then the very style of walking becomes different, and then they with their head raised up, go like this, and people will not talk nicely to other people. The whole manner changes because they don't know what is impermanence, what is death, you see. If you understand all these things, then if you see all this fragility, vulnerability, then you will only be developing love, compassion, respect to others, and in your own case also you will remembering that, and that will help you become humble, helpful, nice to others, which is very, very important, which will be really the driving force for doing anything good. Okay. And it actually happens. So that's why sometimes it is important to pray that may some bad thing befall on me. Otherwise people never learn. It's only when they suffer a tragedy, then they start thinking. Sometimes, unfortunately, too late. And I've seen this myself. I'll tell you some story which is very convincing, and you have those stories also. Like, for example, I do a lot of flying, visiting different countries. So you go to this nice airport, everybody looks nice. Sir, madam, please come, and things like that. Then you wait in the lounge. So many people waiting in the lounge, but hardly anybody talks to each other. That the best they can do is they just move their head. I'm also somebody, you're also somebody. Okay, good morning. Self-sufficient. Okay, good. Then in this way we enter the aircraft. It takes off. Sky is clear, good sunshine, very smooth flight. Still everybody has that gate, I'm somebody, you're somebody. Then somebody comes, serves the lunch, dinner, everything looks nice. You take a nap, it looks you're flying in the space, It looks nice. Unfortunately, suddenly there will be announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, tie your belt, we are entering the zone of turbulence. For me, these are teachings, So immediately they become a little bit more mellowed, more matured, already looking a little bit nicer. Then suddenly when you enter that zone of turbulence and you experience the turbulence, everybody starts looking towards each other, smiling. This is the last thing you can do. When everything fails, the only thing that will help you is smile and nice and be happy, See, that is the story, you see. Then at that time you don't need any introduction. Ordinarily, lot of introduction. From which your country you belong to. I did my PhD from Virginia University. And this is my CV, And these days mostly people have like 10, 15 pages CV, of the great achievement and things like that. You see. I mean, I'm not criticizing anybody. This is how we do. But what I'm saying is, this is okay. This is okay. I'm not saying this is wrong. But what is not okay is, if you pretend what you are not, that's not okay. You see. If you shut an eye to the reality, it's not okay. If you don't understand this interconnected reality, it's not okay. Another example, once I was staying in London in a very nice hotel with His Holiness. I was on a 22nd floor. So at 2 p.m. in the night, there was this big siren, 2 p.m. in the night. Because the siren was so loud, everybody had to get up. Then, came down running through the stairs. I was on 22nd floor, imagine, running down 22 floors. And when we checked in the hotel, as I said earlier, everybody was like real gentleman, gentle lady, Oh, good morning, yeah. But then with this siren, I'm thankful to that siren, because this siren put all of us together outside the veranda, half naked, because they just pulled a towel, whatever, then just to save their life, they came down. Then there was no shame, nothing, you see. Ordinarily, this is shameful, this is dirty, so much, Then all of us were talking to her so nicely. That's the thing. So before this tragedy happens, we need to be nice and know. As His Holiness says, you hardly need any introduction. This is a human being. I'm a human being. We may have some difficulty with the language, but otherwise emotionally we are same, So you have that understanding and smile, be nice, You can make everybody's life happy in that way. So therefore, when you are successful, when you are free from sickness, when you have the needed facilities, don't forget the reality. Because very soon the reality will stare in your face, staring in your face. Then some people are very brave. They'll say, what? If I die, then this thing will happen, that will happen. So I don't care, I don't believe in these things. Then probably the next verse answers this. With behavior, so this verse is saying that when you have obtained this precious human life, if you don't do anything, when you can do so many things, if you don't do anything, then when you take a next, bad rebirth, like an animal, you will not even have that thinking that I'll do something good. Your focus will be how to get a mouthful of grass or something for your food, not more than that, you see. So you will, don't do anything right now so that you have to regret later on. So he says, with behavior such as this, behavior that we have, meaning that with behavior such as this means with behavior as we have today, where we primarily think just about oneself, one's own profit, benefit, be it monetary benefit, be it other benefit, me, I, mine, this is mine, this is me, this is my father, my sister, my brother, I, me and mine only. Scientifically, it is now found that those people who make a lot of self-references and says I, me and mine, they are prone to all kinds of sicknesses, including heart attack. Scientifically, it's proved. In Buddhism, if you read some of the lines you'll find in the very beginning of Madhyamika Avatara, entering the middle way by Chandrakirti, Thangbo nga she dala henjuro ching, dagin di she ngola chaje ba, sojun chenda rama meba in dola nying je shurkante. Thangbo nga she, first you say I, you develop attachment. Then you say dagin di she, this belongs, this is mine, you develop attachment. In this way you get entrapped in the cycle of existence, just like the rings of bucket that you see in a well. Example, the rings of bucket in the well, the rings of bucket which, when you draw water from the well, the rings of bucket, when it moves in the well, it doesn't have a smooth movement. It moves like this, hitting there on the wall, then getting crushed, So similarly, in this cycle of existence, we get crushed. Being born as an animal, as a bird, as a hungry ghost, we suffer so much. So therefore, with behavior such as this, primarily means that with behavior such as this, where we primarily just think about oneself and forget the needs of the others, who are the majority, who are much more in number. So behavior such as this, I shall not win a human body again. Okay, now be brave. If you are brave, earlier you said you are very brave, I don't care. Now he's saying, okay, be brave. You shall not win the human body again. And if this human form is not attained, instead if you are born as a cow or a dog or a snake, it should be okay with you. You are very brave. You cannot be brave, because then there will be solely wrongdoing and no virtue. Because you cannot teach dharma to a cow or a dog, Like if you look at the realm of the animals, they survive by killing each other. The bigger ones killing the smaller one, the more powerful one killing the smaller one. That's their life. They have no sense of what is good, what is bad, you see. So then it's impossible for you to do anything good. So when you have obtained this very happy, positive human life, if you don't make the effort, then when you are born in a negative state of existence, then you are completely confused with what to adopt and what to give up. So this is what is said in the next verse. If when I have the chance to live a wholesome life, my actions are not wholesome, then what shall I be able to do when confused by the misery of the lower realms? When you are born in one of these lower realms, your mind simply hardly functions, You are completely confused. The cows, the donkeys, when you travel on the road, you will find those cows and donkeys standing in the middle of the road, so confused, They hardly can move and they get crushed and killed, you see. You can't do anything. Once I was going by a car to a workshop in Dehradun from Dharamsala. So I found one donkey being crushed on the road, in the middle of the road. And then the partner, the other donkey, it was a very sad sight. Was just standing there, feeling very sad. But what to do? He can't even dispose of the body. Forget about taking the body to a nice place and, perform some ritual. He was just sitting there, very helpless, you see. So then there's nothing you can do. And that can happen tomorrow. If we die today, it can happen tomorrow. You see? Now, if you are born into one of this negative state of existence, like an animal or bird and so forth, then it will be very difficult for you to get liberated from there, because you don't do anything good. And if I commit no wholesome deeds there, because when you are born there in the bad rebirth, then there is no opportunity for you to do anything good, but readily amass much wrongdoing. As far as wrongdoing is concerned, you continue to do that. Then for 100 million eons, I shall not even hear the words a happy life. Forget about engaging any dharma practice, but you may not even hear this word, dendo, happy life. You may not even be able to hear that. So it's a very, very urgent project. This is something where you should really follow a deadline. How difficult it is to obtain this human life. So this verse is also saying that don't postpone your practice. Okay? Because if you are born as an animal, and then you will hardly be able to do any practice. And then next verse number 20 is talking about how it is difficult to obtain precious, why it is and how it is difficult to obtain this precious human life. For these very reasons the Buddha has said, the reason, because if you are born as an animal and so forth, there is no opportunity to do anything good. For these very reasons the Buddha has said that as difficult as it is for a turtle, not any turtle but a blind turtle, let us say there is a blind turtle who cranes his neck on the surface of the water after say 100 years or something, and there is one yolk with just one eye floating on that big ocean, Then this turtle, when he cranes its neck up, and this one eye yolk flowing, to have this turtle snake go into this hole is almost impossible, because the turtle comes out once in 100 years or so, and that yolk has only one eye and floating everywhere. So it's almost impossible. So obtaining precious human life is as difficult as it is. Sometimes they give some other example. For example, if I take a bunch of some dried fruits and throw it on the wall, then how many will stick on the wall? Nothing. It's almost like that, very difficult to find. And the main reason is, as Aryadeva in his 400 verses says, Pemo chen min amne thamba mai cho yongzi. Then sosu chivone pecher ngebar ngendrundo. The reason that it's so difficult to obtain precious human life is that majority or most of the people Pemo chen min amne. In most of the cases, the ordinary people, thamba mai cho yongzi. That means they follow what is not good. They go towards those that's not good. They go towards doing bad things. Tamba maim bagi chol and dugres. Because it's easier. I don't know, I will never understand this. Why is it easier to do bad things? It's more difficult to do good things and it's easier to do bad things. It looks like that. Is it true? Why is it so? Because for developing love, compassion, meditation, we need to have all these classes, go and listen to a teacher, we need to do meditation. But for anger, jealousy, we don't need any meditation, special classes, You're already highly advanced meditators, I say something, you immediately flare up. So it seems to be easy, And killing is so easy. You take your machine gun and you kill so many people. Giving life is so difficult. You see? So therefore it is easy. It's like, number one, our mind is habituated with this wrongdoing. And then the situation, environment is such also that people give you that opportunity to do those things. So you get caught up in that cycle. So therefore we are born into lower states, not higher states. Therefore, ordinary individuals and people, they mostly go to the negative state of existence. No, I mean, this is not unnecessarily trying to frighten us. Look at our present reality. How many good people are there, honestly speaking? How many people like His Holiness Dalai Lama are there? How many bad people are there? Bad people you can count like this. You can use your long rosary and count easily. Hitler, Mao Zedong, count. And then good people, very few. Huh? No, Mao Zedong, Hitler, so many, Mussolini, so many. Huh? You want me to count all the names? Are you sure? Are you sure? Mao Zedong, Hitler, you, me. I'm joking. Yeah, but honestly, you judge, If you compare, people who are either neutral or not so good are more. People who are not working are more than people who are working for other people. Much less. For oneself, many. Everybody is doing something for oneself. But for the good of many others, very few. Because we are like small innocent children. Small innocent kids who are like playing here, They just get completely lost with small meaningless toys, the whole day, that's their world. And the grown-up parents say, oh, they don't spend too much time, you do something. They'll never understand the meaning of it. For them, this is really good, attractive, easy to do, So we are a bit like that. So therefore, the Buddha addresses us by saying, my children. We think I am somebody intelligent, professor, doctor, but Buddha said, my children, my children, you are still playing, you are still building sand castles, and you will still, cry when the sand castle collapses, Yeah. For these very reasons, the Buddha has said that as difficult as it is for a turtle to insert its neck into a yoke adrift upon the vast ocean, it's more difficult to attain the human state. Next verse, the text is saying that therefore you should be extra careful. You should be extra careful in making yourself habituated with positive practices, virtuous practices. Even by the transgression of one instant, that means transgression of your Bodhisattva vows, transgression of bodhicitta, even if you transgress that for a short moment, for one instant, an aeon may be spent in the deepest hell. It may not necessarily have to be true as, literally, but there will be very strong negative consequences. Then because of the transgressions I have gathered since beginningless time, what need to mention my not going to a happy realm? So the bad things, violations of vows and precepts, you are not doing this only this time. You have done this many times in previous lives also. So therefore you need to be especially careful. In other words, he is saying that it is definite that we have done many bad things in this life. Again, don't get discouraged. When I say you've done many bad things, I'm not saying you're a bad man or bad women, This is important. In Buddhism, we make a distinction between wrongdoer and wrongdoing. Make a distinction between wrongdoer and wrongdoing. Wrongdoing is wrong, it's bad, you must stop wrongdoing. But because you have done something, we are not saying you are incorrigible, you are bad, you will go straight to hell, nothing you can do. We are not saying that. We are saying that the wrongdoings are wrong, it's bad. I know you are a good man, you can change, you can become better, So please, in the future, don't do these things. That's what Buddha is saying. And this, for me, not only this is what is found in the teaching, but for me this is very important. It's very important to give this message clearly to people, because otherwise normally we don't make that distinction. Ordinarily we don't make that distinction. And I've seen this in our day-to-day work. For example, if somebody has been selflessly doing something good for the benefit of many people, say 20-30 years, selflessly doing something 20-30 years, hardly anybody notices that, appreciates that. But one day that person commits a mistake, suddenly everybody knows that. I know these women, they do things like that, It's horrible, he did this. This is the world we are living, Hardly anybody recognizes that 20 years of service and good doing. But one small mistake committed, everybody tries to put that person down, make that person completely black and horrible, hopeless, ostracize that person. Absolutely wrong. Who is there who has not done anything wrong? Everybody. It's only a question whether somebody knew about it or not, but otherwise secretly or openly we are doing something wrong somewhere, you see. Let us be honest. So therefore, in the society, we must always give opportunity for people to become better, to improve. By saying that I know you made this mistake, but you are a good person, you can change. That person will be happy. And we are very clever. When it comes to us, we make that distinction. For example, if I make a mistake, I immediately make that distinction. I'm sorry, it was my mistake, meaning that I'm a good person, this was a mistake, I made a mistake, but you should understand I'm a good person. You immediately say things like that. But when the same thing is done by other people, you don't make this distinction. You immediately say, oh, he is bad. He is bad. He is horrible. Don't talk to this person. He is the one who did that, you see. According to the Buddha himself, according to his teaching, the Buddha sees all sentient beings as his child. The teachings don't say that the Buddha sees good people as his child and bad people as his enemy. None of these teachings says this. Buddha is like a mother and we are like the sick child. So Buddha's compassion is always there. So we should also try to adopt a little bit of that kind of attitude. And my main point is always make that distinction and give opportunity for people to become better. Don't ostracize them. Don't blacklist them. Don't destroy their hope. And again, sometimes we are unnecessarily optimistic. Again, you might think, oh, okay, I may have done so many bad things in many countless eons, I may suffer, but it's definite that I don't have to suffer permanently. One day I will get liberated, so it's okay. Until we start suffering, we are very bold. So we think like this, okay, it's okay, if I done something bad, I will suffer the consequences. Then having suffered the consequences, then I will be again liberated, you see. So therefore the next verse says, Tesam khona nyong yorne, tiga saji nyan ini tharkire se dine mardas. Tesam khona nyong yorne tene namthar minjorte. Ditar tene nyong shindu dikwa shenda mangu shigrabas. Yet having experienced merely that rebirth in hell, I shall still not be liberated, because it's not the case that you experience that result of their wrongdoing, and while experiencing the result of their wrongdoing, you're so good that you don't do anything bad. It's not like that. You're continuously doing bad things. So you're continuously experiencing bad result. At the same time, you're continuously doing bad things. So again, you have to experience those consequences. You have experienced merely the rebirth in hell, yet having experienced merely the rebirth in hell, I shall still not be liberated, because for a while, or even the duration, for the time when it is being experienced, other wrongdoing will be extensively produced. I will be doing other wrong things. So therefore, don't postpone, don't make excuses. When you have obtained this precious human life, be attentive, make effort. So if when having found leisure, he is saying that when found leisure means you have opportunity to do practice. So don't say you have no time. You always have time, if you are interested. If you are not interested, then you can say I have no time. That's a pretense. So if when having found leisure such as this, I do not attune myself to what is wholesome, there could be no greater deception, and there could be no greater folly. So he's basically saying, he tried his best to convince you about the importance of practice. Still, if you're adamant, stubborn, and don't want to practice, then he's saying, okay, it's up to you, But I'm telling you, this is the greatest deception that you are doing to yourself. Because that's why the Buddha said, self is the enemy of the self, no one else can be the enemy. We keep on cheating ourselves. When somebody cheats us, we feel miserable. Oh, he cheated me, she cheated me. But when you cheat yourself, you take it for granted. It's okay, it's fine. It's my cheating, okay. It's my anger, okay. Others' anger is bad. By my anger, okay. My cheating, okay. My stupidity, okay. So he says, don't do that. Don't cheat yourself. Don't deceive yourself. Because there could be, if you continue to do these things, then there could be no greater deception, and there could be no greater folly. And it is not only that, but you will experience it at the time when you will die. If you are not trusting me right now, you will see it at the time when you die. At the time when you are dying, you will not be as bold as you are now. You see? You will not be as bold as you are now when you are healthy. And having understood this, that means having understood that these positive practices must be done, negative practices must be removed. Having understood all this, I still foolishly continue to be slothful, lazy. Okay? Then when the hour of death arrives, tremendous grief will rear its head. Tremendous grief will arise in me. Then at that time, your eyes popping out, your hands stretching out, looking for somebody's protection, you will not find anything. all the material accumulations you had done, you can't take anything. All the friends, relatives, they are surrounding you. They can weep and cry, but nothing they can do. His Holiness always gives the example by saying, like, even in my example, right now as the Dalai Lama, so many people come around me, praise me, follow me, and then also I have some security around me, protected. But when I die, no one can help me. And in Tibetan we say, marjichi ne putemanase. It's just like one stick of hair being pulled out of a lump of butter. If you pull a string of hair from the lump of butter, no butter will stick there, just the single hair will come out. So at that time, what confidence do you have that your journey will be okay? Right now you are very brave, you are saying, okay. Even when you fly from here to New York, you need to make some preparations. Whether the flight is confirmed, you check several times. But when you fly from here to New York, you are flying from a place where there is human beings, to another place where there are a lot of human beings, similar like you, so they can help you. But when you go to the next world, who is waiting for you at the airport? Right now we go, somebody should be there at the airport to wait and receive you. But when you go to the next world, who is waiting there? So at that time, if you have these inner qualities, they will guide you, they will help you. Nothing else can help you. It's not only at the time of the death, but even now, when you have these inner qualities can support you, help you, give you strength wherever you go. The others are like friends, relatives and so forth, they can give you limited support, not much. You may be staying with all the family members in one room, but if you're mentally turbulent and unhappy, nobody can help you. They'll try to console you, give you some gift and say nice things, but still if you remain adamant and angry, nobody can help you, you see. So unless you help yourself, nobody can help you in the true sense of the term. That is the bitter truth. Bitter truth. And next verse is saying, and when you are born in that negative state of existence in the future lives, your mind will be full of regret and remorse. And also the funny thing is that right now we have obtained this precious human life and we are not making any much effort. But still we pray, how nice if I obtain precious human life in the future lives. In one of the prayers we say, how nice if I get liberation, how nice if I become Buddha, how nice if I obtain a human life in the future. His Holiness is stupid. You don't have to pray for human life for the future. Right now you have already obtained. Use this one. So this one we are not using, you see. Again, this is a peculiar human tendency. And this is what I tell my Tibetan friends also, Sometimes we make the demonstration and make a slogan and say, oh, in Tibet we have no freedom to do Dharma practice, no proper opportunity for get good education. We want those opportunities, we want those freedoms. Have you seen those kind of slogans? But if somebody says, having heard the slogan, if somebody says, yes, I sympathize with you, it's true that you don't have religious freedom in Tibet, but what about in India? In India you have freedom, in other countries you have freedom, but still you are not doing. So this is this also due to the Chinese? This is human nature. This is peculiar human nature. Those things that you have, you don't appreciate. Those things you can do, you don't do. And then always thinking grass is greener on the other side. But the truth is, you go there and look here. Oh, I can't believe this is the place where I live. It looks more greener than here, I've seen many people who are dying to go to America, paying so much money, And then after having reached there, I met a number of them. Oh, Geshe Lines, really, it is much, much happier in India, I met Tibetans, I met Indians who said that, Interestingly, I met one Indian at the airport in Europe. So we were just talking, Then he said, Guruji, he told me the date, of such and such date. Guruji, इस दिन में मैंने अपने जीवन में सबसे बड़ा गलती किया. He said, on that particular day, I made the greatest mistake in my life. I thought he must have done something really big, bad, I said, क्या किया आपने क्या किया? बोलता कि साला मैं अमेरिका गया. I went to America. Then I said, if that is the case, then why don't you come back? He said, अब क्या करूं गुरुजी, साला इतना बुरी तरह फंस गया कि अब कुछ कर ही नहीं सकता, Then he said, I got stuck so badly there. There's nothing I can do right now, The familial connection, so many. Of course, things happen like that, you see. So what I'm saying is, you wherever you are, you need to take the best advantage of your capacity, your opportunity, so that nothing to regret later on. Otherwise, you will regret when you have the opportunity. You are drawn to, there are things you can be happy about. You are not happy, always looking for something. You never appreciate what you have. Always want a little bit more, little bit more, little bit more, little bit more, little bit more. Oh, happiness will come after I get married. Oh, no, even after married, still I have to have some children. Even after children, he has to finish the education. Then I will be happy, Happiness is not rainbow. Happiness is not like rainbow. It looks beautiful at a distance, Closer you go, the more it disappears. It's not like that. Happiness has to be grown under your feet. Right now. And the small kids are a very good example as far as enjoying the happiness is concerned. They are so happy, They are not calculating. The grown-up people, educated people, very calculating. If I say this, what will he say? If I look like this, what he will look, How he will react, Calculating, so much suspicion, doubt, fear, They're small kids, they are so free, They live in the moment, enjoy and laugh and cry, Finish, Laugh and cry, finish. In our case, if there's a misunderstanding, then for days on we refuse to talk to each other. That's why we say that afflictive emotions are very strongly entrenched within us. I'll tell you another story, then we stop. Another peculiar feature of human beings. Let us say I am friend of somebody, and this somebody and me, we used to be very close friends for the last, say, 30 years. Long, very long. 30 years. Hand and glove friend, as we say. Very close friend. Very close friend. In Tibetan we say michik nyingchik, like one person, very good friend. But this morning, over breakfast, we had some misunderstanding and we had a little bit of fighting. Now look at the story. After this, say, 5 minutes fight over the breakfast, we will remember that 5 minutes fight and will not remember 30 years of friendship. It's more or less something like this, you see. We remember the bad things, not the good things. Actually, the desirable thing is that if you had this fight for 5 minutes over the breakfast, then having had that misunderstanding, one of the friends should have the courage to go to the other friend and say, touch his hand, if there's a need to cry and say, I'm really sorry, it was a bad thing we did this morning, Let us remember this 30 years of friendship. This 5 minutes misunderstanding is nothing, You hug him, cry, whatever you do. Can anybody do that? If you could do that, that friendship will be much more stronger than before. But ordinarily people will not do that. Because then they'll think, oh, if I will be the first person to say sorry, then I will be the loser. I have to be the winner, I have to show to the people that he is wrong, I'm right. As far as this fight is concerned, you see. So you will never have this courage to say sorry. You see. So misunderstandings are possible, but if you don't keep it in your mind and say sorry, or if you can't say sorry, then just smile, Next time you meet, say, smile, Hi, good morning, As if nothing has happened, This other person is also actually waiting for that. Waiting for that. Then life will be easier. Again, you don't have to run away from many people, you see. So there are certain, that's why these teachings are really telling us that please make some effort to change this die-hard habit. Die-hard habit. The certain negative trends and habits in which we are so strongly ingrained that it's not only difficult for us to come out of this habit, but sometimes the peculiar thing is, we are very fond of staying in those areas which is familiar to us, even if it is not very happy. Then embracing something which will give you more happiness and peace, even if it is suffering, because so long as the suffering is familiar to you, you like to continue there. I don't want to come out of this cocoon. I know this area. It's not healthy, lot of sickness there. It's dirty, but still I enjoy here. That kind of attitude we have. So therefore, you need to really reflect and think carefully which one is better, and then that will give you a conviction, not just information. A little bit of knowledge, conviction, and that will move you to do something. Thank you very much.